Welcome to the LIAISE COST Action Podcast, connecting minds, empowering industrial symbiosis.
Welcome everyone to our podcast today, and thank you for joining us for the conversation on digital tools and data for enabling industrial symbiosis. It is such a timely topic, especially as we continue to explore how digital innovation can accelerate circular economy practices and resource efficiency. We have two guests here with us, Veronica and Thanos, who will be taking us through the conversation on digital tools and data enabling industrial symbiosis. I'll just quickly introduce our guest today. Veronica, who is a specialist in industrial symbiosis as a pathway to resource efficiency and the circular economy. She founded her first company, Ziklat, in 2004, and since 2014 has been a co-founder and general manager of the Symbiosis, where she leads industrial symbiosis and strategic circular economy project for government and companies. She's active in national and international forums and the think tanks, where she combines business leadership with teaching and the development and tools to promote industrial symbiosis, such as the SINA digital waste mapping platform. She's very passionate about making things happen. She connects sectors to create opportunities with positive social and environmental impact. Welcome, Veronica. And we also have our speaker here, Thanos. Thanos is a reader in chemical engineering at the University of Huddersfield. He's leading a research team around circular and sustainable industrial systems. His research interests focus on industrial symbiosis, waste relations and reuse, environmental impact assessment, life cycle assessment, and process modeling and simulation. Since 2011, he has been involved in numerous national and international research consortia, as well as local collaborations with industrial partners, promoting industrial symbiosis and performing life cycle assessment for novel processes or products. Welcome, Thanos. Welcome to today's conversation. Let's get the discussion started.
Briefly introducing myself. My name is Jacek Karcz. I'm kind of strategy and logistics expert with quite strong focus on supply chain management, but also digital transformation and then practical use of digital tools and AI especially in logistics. I'm also a lecturer at Wizja University in Poland, when I teach logistics and related business topics. I'm also responsible. I work in business. I try to combine it with between those two jobs. I work on supply chain development, operational improvement, especially including automated warehouse operations implementation in Central and East Europe. So I hope I will be able also to give maybe some practical perspective here in the discussion.
In one sentence, I would like to ask the both of you. I think I will start with Veronica first. What does industrial symbiosis mean to you, and why does digitalization matter in making it work?
Thank you, Janet. Industrial symbiosis is, in fact, it's a business model. It's a business model in which companies find more efficient ways to valorize the wasted resources, and it means not only solid waste, but also water and energy, through collaboration. And through collaboration with other members of in this industrial ecosystem, no? In fact, imitating of what happens in a forest, a natural ecosystem where everybody knows that waste doesn't exist. No? And why digitalization is important? Because to manage waste, we need data. No? We need data to know where these wastes are. And this type of data, waste data, is very difficult to access. So it's very nice that digital tools come to help this barrier and this bucket here.
Well, thank you so much, Veronica, for that. I think I did hear something about data. To manage waste, we need data, which is really important. Thanos, can you please tell us why this matters too.
Sorry, you cut for me. Can you repeat the question, because the connection was a bit...
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. So Thanos, I said, what does industrial symbiosis mean to you, and why does digitalization matter in making it work?
Yeah, I think, industrial symbiosis is one of the main ways to develop circular and sustainable industrial systems. So industrial symbiosis is one of the ways forward. And as Veronica mentioned, you mentioned, lack of data or non-availability of data is currently one of the major problems that we're facing when trying to develop strategies around industrial symbiosis. So digitalization can be one of the main enablers to overcome such barriers that currently limit the potential for wide implementation of industrial symbiosis. Because now there are like a few isolated cases, so digitalization could contribute to a wider implementation of industrial symbiosis.
Thank you so much, Thanos, for that. I think we also gathered, again, data, how important data could help that. Okay, so moving on, I think the question was to Veronica, where I asked that it would be great to know briefly or introduce the digital tools that you are currently developing or using in the context of industrial symbiosis. So, Veronica, that's the question towards you, please.
Yes, of course. As industrial symbiosis specialists, implementing industrial symbiosis projects in territories, we needed to know where the wasted resources are and which companies are the givers and the potential takers. And this is why we developed this platform, Syner platform, and this is what's all about: mapping wasted resources. What we do in a given territory, if we know the list of the companies that are integrating that industrial system, not only in that industry, but also agri-food, agricultural, and even in urban facilities, we can just identify where these types of wasted are and which are the companies that are generating. This data, since it's not easily accessible, as everybody knows, what we do is to estimate it. We invent the data through our knowledge, through artificial intelligence, big data analysis, etc. It's the fact that, for instance, if you are a paper producer, you don't have to tell us which are the waste that you're generating, because we know. No? And if we know maybe your billing, we can estimate the quantity that you are generating. No? Through these types of estimation, we are able to respond questions as which is the waste ranking in a given area, or how many companies generate waste polyurethane foam, for instance, no? Or which companies can potentially are generating hot water at 80 degrees, etc. No? And this is what Syner platform about: mapping wasted resources in a given territory. And it doesn't matter which territory. We have the list of the companies, the estimation. It's for every type of company. We are not working with real data. We are working with estimated data.
Oh, thank you so much, Veronica, for that. Just a further question. You mentioned the tool focuses on mapping wasted resources and connecting companies, which is really interesting. How exactly does that process work in identifying givers and takers?
Well, as I said before, we identify the waste and the companies that are giving the waste. So if we know that, for instance, we're working with, as I said before, a polyurethane foam giver, and there's an opportunity to valorize that foam in maybe in acoustic panels or whatever. No? But we need more quantity, because the quantity that industry is generating is not enough for the process. So what we just look around in the system and see who else is producing these types of foams, and where are they, and in which quantities. And they then put them together and say, okay, you are involved in a potential business model because these people wants to identify these types of waste. Are you interested in participating in this collaborative industrial symbiosis project? Yes. So, and this is the types of projects that we do. We also, for instance, can do the opposite. No? So, sometimes energy companies come and say, where should I put a 50,000 tons here of a biogas plant? Where is enough biomass waste to put a 50,000 tons biodigester? And then we can identify was forest waste, agricultural waste, manual waste, industrial waste, all that can be becoming part of an anaerobic digestion for biogas producing.
Thank you very much. I think you've talked about the fact that the tool is very helpful, but I would like you to share a very practical example where this mapping has successfully led to a symbiotic exchange or a new business development.
Well, I just mentioned two examples that are real examples. No, it's this, for instance, this biogas plant is one of the plants that are now very fastly developing here in Catalonia, in Spain, and we are working a lot with the energy plants to identify potential locations to implement this investment. And working for the other one, for instance, the polyurethane is also another real example of companies in a industrial area in Asturias, in Spain. So,
thank you so much, Veronica, for that. I would move to Carlos now. Carlos, if you can briefly introduce the digital tools you're currently developing or using in the context of industrial symbiosis as part of your research. It would be interesting for us to know that too.
Yes, thank you. So we are developing a similar, I guess, idea, a similar platform, a symbiosis enabling platform. It was developed as part of a European EU-funded project, AquaSpice, and it's in collaboration with the Technical University of Crete, and it's an online platform that focused as part of the project on water and wastewater reuse partnerships, but has been since expanded to include also solid and gaseous waste. And it supports the identification and facilitation of industrial symbiosis schemes through, again, similar steps, through a mapping procedure of mapping all the industries in a specific region and characterization, and then identifying synergies based both on the database of existing commercial schemes that could potentially work, and then based on the type of industries the platform performs a matching, or based on the actual characteristics of the waste streams, and then also evaluates the synergies preliminary in terms of economic feasibility and environmental benefits. And it's targeted both at industries, so the platform can perform an analysis for a specific plant or point, potential source or sink of waste sources, and at regional managers, so it can perform an overview analysis of the whole region and identify either the key waste streams or the key sectors that the region should focus on.
Thank you so much, Thanos, for that. So you talked about the tools that has been developed and still developing. I would like to really understand. Can you tell us how those tools align with existing research on digital-enabled industrial symbiosis?
Yes, thank you. So since the development of the platform as part of the EU project, we're trying to expand it on that aspect, or on including more digital technologies. One big component, Veronica touched upon it, is how you can incorporate artificial intelligence into the platform. So you could have, for example, improved magic algorithms. So you can use some kind of machine learning to predict if a specific waste stream from a company can be generated, and then find matchings in the area based on not necessarily numbers or specific flows, but even description of activities in text. So you know that the sectors, and you can predict, or you can predict if matching can happen there. You can also, as we've mentioned, lack of data is always an issue. So you can predict supply and demand. You can model and predict supply and demand without necessarily needing the data to be provided by the industries. So you can allow them to be more to be reluctant, but at the same time provide them with options without them having to share any proprietary information. Real-time monitoring, real-time data collection could also be something that could be looked into. So that links well with the digitalization and the big data, lots of data available. So real-time monitoring of waste streams, of waste prices could also be something around existing research which could be incorporated in tools that enable industrial symbiosis.
Thank you, Thanos, for that. I think you just touched on something that I wanted to ask next, and where you talked about maybe some of the challenge could be the lack of data. And so I wanted to ask, if the tools already exist and clearly delivers value, what is still slowing down the adoption of the tools, apart from maybe because I've been hearing the data? What are some of the barriers that are still slowing down the tools from your own experience?
I think all the tools need users to use them. So if there's no use, there's no point in having the tools. So from an academic point of view, finding users, if they're not part of the same funded project, they're not willing to spend time and give you the time to help develop and use the tool because they're not persuaded, or they don't trust a tool that has been developed from academics necessarily that they could use for actually changing their making decisions for the plants. So trust and users of the tools is the main barrier, which is linked also to data, because if you don't have users, you end up with no data. Although data, you can find them, either predictively generate them, or you can find open access data. I mean, there are waste repositories, there are reporting mechanisms where you can access some data. They're not complete, but it's a starting point. But if with such data, if you don't have users to improve the tools, to use the tools, to develop schemes, you want all the tools won't survive. From an academic point of view, they won't survive because since no one is interested, no one will keep them alive. From a private sector point of view, if you don't have users, you don't have income, so you probably realize that that's something that doesn't bring you money, so you stop doing it. So users in any way are, I think, the critical barrier or opportunity, whichever way you want to see it.
Thank you so much. I think that means in the academic aspect, from industry aspect, one of the major challenge is the usage, not having users to interact, and also the trust of the tools. Thank you so much. I would go to
Veronica wanted to say something. She raised her hand, and then Jacek can also give us his opinion.
Before giving to Jack the word, just saying that of course the market, the demand is basically. But I think that the approach for surviving, for a platform to survive, has to be business driven. So most of the platforms that are in the market now are coming from European projects, no? A public finance. And with this finance stops, these platforms are ending. Nobody is continuing them. And in our case, for example, it's a private-driven platform. It's for us. It's not for companies' use. It's for facilitators, as we are. No, the facilitators implementing projects it's a tool that we use it every day. It's already running in the market for more than 10 years, and I think it's the business. If there's business, there will be a platform. No, and maybe most of the academic platforms that are running now, they're fantastic. Some of them are incredible, but no one continues them. So it's a very, very pity. Sorry for interrupting. I think that Jacket has to say something.
No, you didn't interrupt at all, because from my own aspect as a business lecturer, it makes more sense to know that, yes, at the end of the day, if there's no business for this, then there's no user. The usage too might be a bit of challenge. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tanu. Thank you, Veronica. This is getting really interesting. So I would like to bring in Justin.
Yeah, Jacek. So just from my perspective regarding the data, and especially it's a case of data quality and visibility. That's something that we face most problems from this perspective. So, but on the other hand, as I'm extremely high fan of usage any digital tools in any kind of processes development, then until we will not feed the systems with data, then we will not bring any new opportunities. So any platform, any kind of program will not work if we will not give the proper weight of data. And in general, visibility is not let's say the core point. So better to look to work and look on perspective of data that we have and we can use, and then combine it with the practical perspective or practical experience that we have, instead of not moving forward. So digital tools are only as good as the data behind them, we can say. So if the data is incomplete, outdated, and so on, or poorly governed, then even the most impressive platform or any AI model can produce very, let's call it, expensive mistakes. So on the other hand, we should be sure what we put into the system. That's my input.
Thank you so much. I would also like to ask Jason if you are developing any digital tools, or you're currently developing, maybe in the context of industrial symbiosis and maybe in the context of a supply chain, maybe something that we can learn from.
So in general, my current work in terms of usage of this kind of platforms is related to prediction of demount and usage of AI tools in the demount prediction, which is first of all important for retail, for e-commerce and sales perspective. But on the other hand, it's very much related to supply chains, because only in that way we can be ready for coming high, low, peak seasons, and also the variability in demand. So that's the and here, as in correlation to what we talked earlier regarding data, is extremely important for us to have the correct data, but also to use them, because when we implement any kind of support tools that use digital processes, then it's like moving from city A to city B with car and Google Maps, and then switching up to platforms use or usage in AI tools. It's like going with helicopter. So we have a better view not only on the road that we are hitting now, but also on the future perspective, closer and farther. So that's in general the area that I develop.
Thank you, Jason, for that. You talked about using the correct data, and I was just intrigued. So I wanted to probe further. So how do we use the correct data or platform? How do we do that?
Still, should I continue or yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the perspective that first of all the source of data means if we talk about real data from companies that we cooperate with, it's something much more valuable. Then we should of course use some filters to put the or to extract the real data that we can use, and then see also the perspective of potential disruptions in data. So another level is testing of data. So making some neutral tests and also even not with much advanced platforms, but even pure on an Excel level. Then it's showing us if there are any big disruptions or not. Then testing the real platform and having a perspective if from the business point of view, the results are something that is giving us real prediction or not. But also we should somehow trust in what we see. Because to give you a very practical example, in 2019, before COVID, I was on a project in terms of courier company, and we analyzed a huge pack of data in terms of goods moved from point to point. And at that time, the predictions were extremely high. And I was the one who said, wow, it's extremely risky to confirm that this level of packages will be in the net of courier companies in 2, 3, 5 years. My colleague said, and what about, Jacek, if there will be a driver on the market that we don't know that will speed up and boost the courier market so much? Then in 2020, I called him and I said, yeah, you were right, because we had no idea that there will come COVID, for example. So maybe it's sometimes worth to trust in the predictions as platforms nowadays really use a lot of assumptions, and sometimes the assumptions that we have no clue about them to use them in the specific cases. So first of all, we should check and test. On the other hand, yes, we should also trust in results.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for that. I would move now to Thanos. I see that Thanos has been in this research field for a long time now, having read his bio. So, Tano, in one word, what defines the future of this field? And that's industrial symbiosis.
So I think it's the first thing is what we've been discussing the last half an hour about an AI-driven collaboration between industries towards an integrated network of ways to use. Another thing that I'm seeing more and more, and I've been involved in a couple of also efforts, is expand industrial symbiosis to include urban settlements. So I've seen a transition from IS to IUS. So instead of just having industrial symbiosis, have industrial and urban symbiosis. So I think that's also something that we'll see more and more in the future as a mainstream discussion, same way we have now industrial symbiosis. So I think IS will be replaced by IUS in the next or it has been already replaced
Oh,
in many instances, but it is, I think it's going to be the only term in the future, in the next couple of years.
Next couple of years. It's interesting to even know that it has already started. Thank you so much, Candice. And I'll go to Veronica. If you had to identify one major factor preventing industrial symbiosis from scaling, what would that be? And what is so? There are two questions now, two in one question, Veronica. So let me go about that again. If you had to identify one major factor preventing industrial symbiosis from scaling, what would it be? And what is that one digital tool every organization should explore?
Well, I think that the main factor preventing industrial symbiosis to scale up is it's cultural. So we are not prepared, not yet too well prepared, to go through collaboration, working for business model to make efficiency of the wasted of the resources that we use. We are not still very yet prepared. So this is one of the main. And how does the digital? Well, I think that as Jacek said, the quality of the information that you're giving to the companies it's essential to confiar, ¿cómo se dice? To trust these types of businesses that we are proposing. So quality means trust. So it's easier to break up this barrier of the cultural barrier that you're not trusting, you're not believing, you're not used to it.
Thank you so much, Veronica. So trust is a major issue here. I would go to Jackson now. Policy or technology, which matters the most from your experience in this area of research?
For sure, at this stage, technology, because first of all, we should develop the technology and then we should adapt policy. Because if we will make it in the opposite way, then probably we will find out and very soon see some blocking points that we will create during the policy development. And in other way, it's the same like usage of any kind of AI engines or AI tools. We use them. It's very popular now. But on the other hand, there are no clear policies or how we can use them, or what are the next steps with data that we upload there and so on. So, but still it is in progress. On the other hand, we can only learn by doing. So that's why, from my perspective, technology first, the policy then.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. So we should leverage more on technology and then policy would
That's
come.
my perspective.
That's
Yes.
your perspective. But thank you so much for that. So this is for all our guests, our three guests today, as we wrap up the session. What is the one key takeaway you would like our audience to leave with today? I'll start with Thanos.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, we will repeat ourselves now. I can't find of something very smart or very catchy to say at the end. So I think changing the culture, and because we have the tools, we have a lot of tools, we have a lot of options, we have some technologies, and we'll have more technologies. I'm pretty sure about that. So I think that aspect is progressing well. So I think the main key is changing the culture and collaborating more to develop, because that's what symbiosis means. I mean, it's a Greek word, so I can say that it means living with one another. So so if we can collaborate and live as industries or as urban settlements with one another in a beneficial way, that's the key takeover. We have to create that collaborative culture more, I think.
Thank you, Thanos, for that. Veronica, what's that one take home that you would like to just share with the audience today?
I would say I would encourage companies and people to try it. Go for it. Make a test. Just start. If you start, you will see that everything happens. So start. Do it.
I like that. Just go for it. Go for it. Thank you for that.
Go for
and,
it.
And Jason, what's your own final key
So I
takeaway?
would say it's a positive promise, and it is very practical because when we will use data, share data, and then use the digitalization in our everyday life, we will simply probably create a better future also for not only for us but also for next generations.
Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Tanis, for such an insightful conversation in today's podcast. The discussion has shown that while digital tools and data are powerful enablers, collaboration, trust, I kept hearing that word trust, and policy support remain equally important in advancing industrial symbiosis. I really like the fact that Veronica said, just go for it. It's like, just go for it. Thank you so much for today's conversation, and I believe that the audience has learned one or two things from there. Thank you very much. And my name, I think I didn't introduce myself. I'll just introduce myself at the end of the podcast. So I was the one moderating the podcast today. My name is Ian Enkanta. I'm from the University of the West of Scotland. Thank you very much, everyone.